All right, guys, we've got a handstand push-up skill work session this week, and last week, that Thursday no score workout with handstand walks. People were super excited, had handstand walks and double unders with no score. That got them really intrigued or really eager to just practice. So tons of people getting their first double under, practicing double unders. So it was a really exciting little jump rope skill session. And then we didn't teach the handstand walk, but we had a lot of people that I didn't even know could kick up like that, kicking up into freestanding handstands, getting a little hold time, some people taking small steps. A lot of people wanted to go to the wall instead of the bear crawl and practice handstand stuff. So I'm sure Dave saw that and then rolled us right into this handstand session this week. So we have a couple different options for them to practice. You're going to want to roll through them real quick, tell them what to focus on. So we got handstand holding type drills this week. So primarily just getting that balance in play, getting some time with their arms straight overhead and building up that endurance. So you're going to have members who are either going to be on the floor or the box because holding partial body weight with their arms straight overhead is tough for them and they need to build up their endurance there. So if they're getting into that piked handstand hold, you want to make sure that it doesn't look like this here or even this here, right? Or this here. So I'm either A, too far apart, or B, I don't have my head through. So we're trying to kind of press our head into that window. We don't need to overdo it and start rolling our shoulders and crank our traps. But you can tell them, hey, get into that down dog, walk your hands back towards your feet, go up onto your toes. They should be looking at their toes. They can look in between their thumbs, but not if all their weight shifts forward. So they're pressing their chest to their thighs, weights up on their toes for that hold. And you want to make sure that they've got active flex shoulders. They don't necessarily need to be here, but we need to be making sure we're not relaxed and soft shoulders there. So head in between the biceps. Doesn't have to be through all the way to here, right? We need enough, but not too much or more than we need. As we get on the box, set them up with their feet directly in the center of the box. We don't want anybody's toes slipping off and smacking their shins. So I'm going to get set, feet in the middle of the box, and then I'm going to move my hands. So I'm going to walk my hands in, keep walking them in, walking them in, walking them in. It's going to, for them, feel maybe like they went too far. But again, we don't want them here where we don't want to do our hold out here, head out, or too far out. They need to walk themselves in until they're all the way compressed and almost pressing their chest towards the box. Same deal. We've got those arms active and engaged, and we're getting that weight over top of our hands and not on our feet. So for the athletes who are going to just do the piked hold, those are the two options. You can start them on the floor, get their feet up on a big box. Don't use a small box like that. That could tip over. Then we've got the folks that are going to want to try kicking up on the wall for the first time. So for these folks, a couple things, and then people who can kick up and hold on the wall, we want to give them an explanation of how we get into a handstand. So what happens with some people, I'm going straight on here, but so you may not be able to see, but is they just try to get their foot to the wall. And that's not what we want when we kick up and do a handstand. So if we just throw our foot at the wall, things like this can happen. So I hit the wall and I bounce right back off. At that point that my foot hit the wall, my hands were here, my foot hit the wall, my hips were all the way back here, right? So nothing is stacked. Not my hands were here, my shoulders, my hips were back here, and I arched my back and threw my feet up. So the goal is not to get their feet to the wall, or in their mind, it should not be to get their feet to the wall. The goal should be to get their hands, their shoulders, and their hips stacked with a tight core, right? We don't want to just completely arch our back and slap our foot into the wall. That's where people trying to learn that handstand hold come off of the wall. So if I just kick up into a freestanding handstand here and I just focus on popping my hips up, I'm going to be able to get a little bit of balance with just my hips getting over my shoulders and my hands. So I was able to control that position right there. I did both feet at the same time. They can do one or the other. I like to take people away from cartwheeling, make them put their hands down like that, and they start off with one foot popping up. So that would look like this. Hands are set up, arms are pushed straight, For this, I like to put ab mats underneath their head for safety, just in case their elbows bend. And we're gonna go ahead and pop off of one foot and tell them to focus on getting their hips above their shoulders. So I'm not trying to really reach my feet up. If they get their hips there, the feet will naturally come up the rest of the way. So that's step one, is kind of a donkey kick. But I kicked up on one foot, came down on the same foot. The next step would be to kick up, get your hips over your shoulders, and switch feet. So I'm going to go from one foot to the other, spending more and more time balancing on my hands, getting used to tightening up that core. They're feeling their hips get up over their shoulders. And eventually you're going to see them just float up to the wall, right? We don't want people doing a cartwheel kick and smashing their body into the wall. Their elbows are very likely to unlock. They may not have the strength or core strength to get and hold themselves up there. So now that I can get both hands down and then potentially just do my pop up and get to the wall without needing any assistance. It's going to be safe. I felt what it takes to keep my arms straight, still have that one or two ab mats under my head or their head to keep them safe. If someone's kicking up and they're doing that and they're so close, but they maybe just don't have that last little bit of momentum. So I was kicking up off of my right leg, sending my left foot up in the air. So if I'm going to spot that person, I'm going to say, go ahead and do one of those donkey kicks. Show me which leg you prefer to kick up on. Okay, they're going to push off their right foot. Left foot goes up in the air. I'm going to go on the left side over here. When that person kicks up, I'm going to grab that left leg, roughly thigh and calf area, as they pop their hips up and guide them the rest of the way up there. If they don't get their hips over their legs, I'm not going to try to lift their whole body up. They need to get most of the way there, and I'm just going to guide them the rest of the way up. Sometimes they're just not committing to leaning on the wall, so I'm going to hold them there and help them out. If you have to do a strenuous lift to get them up there, they're not really that close, and that you dragging them up there is not going to necessarily help them get that last little bit. So starting with the donkey kick first, move to the alternating leg, floating kick ups, and then try to get them to do a assisted spotted kick up when they're ready to go for it. You can just be there for safety to help them out, and making sure that you're on the appropriate side to spot them safely for that handstand kick up. Folks who can do a handstand pretty comfortably, but they're not comfortable off of the wall yet, you can challenge them to kick up, hit the wall softly. So we don't want people slapping the wall with their feet. We want to kick up and just barely kiss the wall. So I'm going to kick up, do my focus on hips over shoulders, just barely tap the wall. And I'm not going to pull my feet back. So right here, I'm pulling my feet off the wall and I'm just kind of flopping all over the place because I had my core relatively relaxed, my legs were relaxed, my feet were apart. I'm going to tighten up my core, squeeze my legs together, push my arms into the floor. So I'm elongating my body. As I do that, it's going to slide me up the wall, trying to kind of stretch myself out. And that's going to naturally pull me away from the wall. So now when I kick up, get to the wall softly, tighten everything up, elongate my body. That naturally pulls me off of the wall and has me float away. From there, you could spot people kicking up into space the same way that you spotted them on the wall. You can grab that one foot and walk around behind them and give them a little spot, or you can give them the PVC pipe blocker if you would like.